everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing Abzan Life Gain, where the primary focus of the deck is to, you guessed it, gain life. We're using cards like Amalia that whenever we gain life, she gets additional counters and also can help draw cards on other features. Going very well with our Lunar card that says whenever we gain life and lose life, we make an additional 1/1, which will trigger a ton of our ETB effects, gaining us a lot of life and help draining out our opponent alongside of Starscape Cleric. That card saying whenever we gain life, each opponent loses 1 life, and again, that's our whole focus. So with that, let's dive in. I'm definitely willing to try this. I'm not afraid. The hand's a bit pricey in the way it's working, but we'll try. Do this, we'll shock. Maybe we're supposed to shock here first, but I don't really want to shock it for a green. Sure, I guess. That's fine with me. Just play the conviction, and then everything will be good from there. This will allow me to make creatures. Using a lot of our life total early, I will say. Sure, that gains life. That does things that I do at some point have to worry about. So green, white, or maybe I just go here. So I'm not going to name green on this. We want this to be probably black, if I had to say. Then I can go here. And I'll just start with this one. A lot of life being lost here, but that's okay. We're going to gain some, draw some extra cards, do a little bit of draining. Not draw cards, make creatures, right? And then this can kind of chump block here. Nowhere to run. So our counters still move here. Don't want to prioritize my 1-drop, because if we do it here, it's a bit weird, because if we target this, right, it gives them more of a reason to remove that card, and we don't want them to have more of a reason to do that. So shock here, because I need the white mana. So let's go. Doesn't really matter if I play it this way. I guess I can swing my Death Toucher and see if they block. I doubt it. If they block, then okay. That's a Death Toucher. That's off the board. Don't really care that much. And then honestly here, because I lost life, gain life, this is going to trigger anyway, but I do want to play Aunt May because this is going to go back into my hand. And I could play this, but then that leaves them to be able to board wipe me for free, so I don't want to do that. Much rather just play it a little bit slower. I don't know. I could have probably swung this, I guess. I don't know why I didn't. I guess they both trade here. I only did the 1-drop because I thought maybe it wouldn't trade. Although I do lose my 3/3 for free by sneaking it away. Combat. Obviously, I'll gladly do the 1/1. I guess I could do all these, right? I'll just ninjutsu, or I'll sneak it in off of Aunt May here. So I don't have to lose my damage. I can replay this down. It's not like it's a big deal. Probably gonna remove it. Hero's Downfall. Okay. Sure. So now we go here. Here. I think. Am I supposed to play here for? I don't know if it matters. Then we'll go here. Now we got the entire card engine online. Wow, where if we're just ripping lands, we're going to draw everything. If not, I'll let that go. Now it's technically going to draw it here. I just rather dig with the Amalia. That's a pretty good card to have, considering they're kind of free. Most mono black decks are not going to be able to remove these very well. There is a card that does it, but I'm not even worried about bringing it up until I see it. And also, I can't think of its name. They don't have to target here. The life that they lost was not by targeting Amalia and paying 3. It's by paying 3 for the Bitter Triumph, if you were curious. We go here. We play here. Then I'll do white here because I do want to lose life here for my convictions. Or my lunars, I guess. This deck feels very hard to win, even though it can win. I'm kind of just doing everything ahead of time. Realistically, they're going to let this hit, and they're going to remove that anyway. I could attack to threaten thing, but no point. Now this trigger on the stack, we have it resolved last because these are all going to enter and gain life, allowing this to go up and double check itself. But this right here is why I thought these were so important. And now if they don't do anything, we offspring this, and I don't even have to go to combat. The rest does nothing here. That's why I didn't think they would trade this. They just didn't quite have anything. Obviously, I just exile that. Getting there. Spell cast away. I'll just move to combat and end the game. I'm not even worried about triggering anything else for them. They said good game. They allowed us to end it, so we'll just do just that. Well, this hand looks really bad, but it's actually quite good. Go ahead and shock this in, and I'll start off with the death touch here. Scary boy. The only unfortunate part is this is probably going to have to go in black for Amalia, which I feel like I should just do. Get it taking right away, digging for lands here. Great card I will pass on. I do have one. Which next turn I might just play for one. Which is kind of the problem of naming black on this. Obviously I want to get this down, but at the same time I would gladly do it the other way. I think I'm going to flash this in. I'm going to change my game plan. It says flash when we gain life, put a 1 counter on it. We can really build up our board here. Ooh. Deal damage to target tap creature, you say? They make a creature. Okay. It's actually better for us. Flash this in. Gain a life. Put a counter on. Trigger Amalia. We hit a land, which is huge. And we hit the conviction. Wow. So we are going white. We are paying that life. We're going straight into conviction. And then I am going to probably just go ahead and play here because I should be able to meet all the requirements. And then obviously if these creatures are big enough, I will probably just answer a Johnny while I can. It's one of those things where they make a chump blocker here, and I think it's just worth getting that off the board. Here are all these. Again, Kaleo will be able to draw us a card because of the extra bat we're going to make. I'll keep that on top. That card's pretty good. Cards are pretty good. This is the type of power this deck can provide, right? Like, look how much value we're getting off of these two creatures in terms of how large they're getting. They have Judgment. Sure. Which is fine. It is what it is, right? Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. I don't really have a way to lose life here, though. I could draw, I guess. But none of these gain life off themselves. So I guess we just go a bit more committal here, and we just go for Cleric and just try to actually start draining our opponent while also putting a little bit more damage on the board. Force them to actually have to answer my board. They go a Johnny again or something, then I'm good. Maybe there I am just supposed to ignore the Johnny, but it did feel like leaving it would be a bad idea for the future development of the game. As you saw with the Day of Judgment, how bad that would be if we left the Johnny behind. But let's see how much damage I could do with these. Go here. Gain Drain. Combat. 3. And then we'll play another one of these, which will deal 4 damage here. Then anytime we gain life, it obviously triggers here. So realistically, they could play Helix. That could gain them some life in a spot like this. Inevitable Defeat's another option. I don't see any blue. Looks like there's a Mardu, right? I think it's Mardu. So, we'll see. Another Day of Judgment would be huge for them. Deadly Cover Up. Surgicling those, I think, would be my choice. Yeah. I'll just jam this, call it a day. Because it's obviously perfectly big enough to remove them. Or do I just play here? No, I just can't lose life. It's obviously tough, but every time I gain life, this drains them for 1. Which is what matters. Did I have a way to win? I think I did, actually. 1... Or does this black mana screw me from doing so? I think the black mana actually cost me. Well, your life total was not above that mark, I will say. Go here. We'll gain a life. And then we just need to gain 1 more. Actually, no, we just play this conviction. Or I keep calling this conviction. I'm sorry. It's just where we're at now. But because of 2 of these, it will actually trigger. Yeah, I think... Well, no, because these only will ever do 1. It doesn't deal multiple. So no, I didn't miss lethal there. I'm not that bad at the game. I could be, but like I try not to be. Okay, we're off. Chuck this in, play case. Haven't had a case yet. It's really nice because this can't be targeted by creature removal. But I do think I want to start off with this cleric. Although that kind of emphasizes that we're going to get hit with removal. But I want to start off with this because if it does stick, it's pretty solid. If not, we have these to play after. And if this gets removed after we gain some life, the counter can go onto the cleric. But this can kind of pop off pretty quickly. Red, black. This could be land destruction. I play 0 basics. So, could just get shoulder checked literally at the beginning of this game. I just don't know what they're doing. Bitter Triumph. Oh, Voltborn Tyrant or Reanimator. Okay. Well, that's not horrifying at all. Go here. Looking to offspring this potentially. And these will just grow exponentially as we play more and more copies of them. 3 mana. Would blow up a land. We're kind of okay with what our hand is. If I don't get to do this, then I don't get to do that. It is what it is. Our opponent is a little in the tank here. Maybe new to their deck, it seems. Trying to figure out how to play their lines. Fine. But they're not like slow playing in a way that would make you think that they are. You know, like they're just not paying that much attention. It just seems like maybe trying to figure out what's best to do in most situations, which is perfectly fine. Let's go, Amalia. Hopefully this hits a land. If it hits a land, we're pretty happy. Misses, it hits another Amalia, but I'll let that go, obviously. They can bring one back. It'd be pretty good as Arden, but Voltborn Tyrant's already going to be a monster. You need a blue for Superior Spider-Man, or they can just play land and Zombify, which it looks like that's what they're going to do. Or it could be Foggy Swamp Visions, which that tells me it's Foggy Swamp Visions. There's just like no other explanation for that card to be out. Which I drew all 4 Essence Chandlers. I drew all 4 of them. So with that, I do think, because I don't see an overwhelming loss here, where they reanimate something and then I just feel like I'm drowning there. So I think I just want to go... another Chandler here. Maybe we'll hit that land. You did... Oh, you son of a... I'm so mad about that. I'm like not actually mad, but I'm mad, you know? It is what it is. They block there, of course. They'll take 3, go to 12. Everything's looking fine so far. Obviously a board wipe could happen, but Foggy Swamp Visions is for 1 right now. But that does exile. They really need it to be a Zombify or Rakdos, good card. No, that's from Capenna, right? I don't think that's legal anymore. No, that's from Murders. Rakdos joins up, I think. But they could have used their treasure instead of shocking. They're going to gain some life here, to be fair. So, can't blame them. Yeah. Back up quite a bit. We really want to offspring this. So with the amount of life gain I'm going to potentially gain here, I'm going to just opt to do it a different way. Such a good card. Are we allowed to I think I have to, where I'm at in this game. Especially with how large these are going to get, because they might just have to block here. I think they do have to block here. A 100% they have to block here. I don't know why I was thinking about it so hard. Especially with all this. No. And then hopefully this triggers on, yeah. Like I say, I'm also overcommitting because I can activate my case and start playing everything from my graveyard. And now we swing. They 100% have to block, which is barely enough. They have to block my 10 here. And then they get hit for 15, going to a whopping 4. 3. That's how math works. And then obviously I'm just going to crack this just out of disrespect and call it a day. However, they are at 3. A board wipe could do something. It could do something. Of all my counters. But they had to pay life for that, which makes this a win condition. I don't have haste, so they should swing. But I also have this, right? So, sure, my turn. We'll just go ahead and offspring here. We want to resolve this first. So anytime we gain life, it would trigger twice. And with that, we would have a total of 4 damage to do to our opponent. And we had a absolute blast of a time. We do need a life gainer here, though, unfortunately. I just realized I snap kept this without any way to actually gain life. Wrong land. Meant to play this. Oopsie. Look at that guy. There you go. There's only 1 tick. Well, funnily enough, in open play, my opponents snapped that off quicker than normal, which is kind of nice. Normally, I'll get the rest, and there's 1 take, and they just stare at my hand for a while, like it's an option. Sure. Okay, well, we might just lose off that, unfortunately, and have to call it. I mean, that's 5 lands already, and we had 5 total lands in the entirety of our last game. And we were throwing cards in our graveyard because we couldn't find lands. Or find cards that mattered, right? So, we go here. We go here. Kind of fine. Not really. Board wipe could happen. And May is okay, I guess. Because it does gain life and has a Malia happen. Maybe I could have just pitched it, but if we draw a land there, it's just so bad. Malia, I guess, is also not guaranteed to live here, right? So maybe I should have just pitched it and hoped for better. Always a weird way to play a game. Where you need to do things, but you can't do things. They can cast this card until next turn. They can't cast that for free now. Thor's a pretty sick card. Not gonna lie. Well, I don't know. Let's see. Fair enough. Might as well play this out. If we had this online, we'd be pretty happy. Would have just set it in play without any life gainers in the first place, because we would also lose life. It would make a bat, I think. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained and lost life, create... Oh, you have to do both. Unholy Annex. 3 damage. Where would you like? Okay, good. Where do I want to put these 2 counters? They can cast a Strategic Betrayal. Put it here. Aunt May, I'm not going to lie to you, big dog. You might be cooked. Oh, they get to answer it first. Yeah, it's tough. What a turn for my opponent. Really just flooding early got us in trouble. We should definitely attack. I have no cards in hand. It's not that big of a decision. Wow. Yeah, I think we're just too far behind. There's just not really a way for us to catch up. I'm just going to move on. That's a tough one. My opponent's first, though. Goblin. Okay, we can actually fight this matchup pretty well. Weirdly enough. Let's shock. Let's play a 1-2. I'll be in a little bit of trouble early just because they'll have some amount of removal. They'll be able to do a little bit of stuff. They don't have red though. I mean, they do, but they don't. I'll be in a little bit of trouble early here. But I think this is where I definitely want to set this down because I'll gain life off my creatures. And then I'll be able to make extra creatures overall. Just slowly kind of grind the game out that way. Playing something like an Amalia here is going to be good. I'll lose life, then I'll gain life and put a counter on it. Hopefully I can hit a land and then play this as well on 2 draws / 2 looks. No. I could block the Seer Slicer, but the value that this is going to get me is too good. I just feel like I can't do that. Yeah. Okay. Amalia has to come down, and we really have to hope it hits a land here. So we will be in a lot of trouble if that doesn't happen. No? Hold. Hopefully. Did both, so Amalia will trigger again. We'll gain another. This is the exact opposite of the game that happened before. We had 5 lands by 51 cards. We're now at 48 with 2 lands. And that's just to kind of show the stress of the game, right? And how swingy certain matchups can be. And if I lose Amalia here, that'll obviously stuck. But at 4/4 is pretty solid. I am able to double block their Bash Trumper. And I can just kind of block some things. This is neutral. This could be a lightning strike. So I'm just going to block like this. Make another creature. They play Krenko. Okay. Krenko is a little bit harder to beat. And of course, the land we draw comes in that fashion. And what I mean by that is because this is not my 3rd turn, it will enter tapped. But I should be able to find another land off this. If I can get Amalia all the way triggered up, I can use it as a board wipe. That's kind of my win condition right now, unfortunately. Okay, I'm now at 45 cards. Okay. Play this land. I do have a 7/7. I'm just in pure hold mode here. Gain 3. Land. Sure. Now that I have a land, I am looking to basically get this to happen next turn, which I can definitely do, I think. But also, I think there's a good chance that my Cleric can almost be lethal here. Now they can activate Krenko, make a million goblins. I do have double blocks. I do have 9/9s. I don't know what the 1 swing's for here. Maybe it's just out of practice. They can make all the goblins on the end step. So let's go ahead and start by shocking this. This counts itself. So let's go ahead and play here. It may comes down. Triggers happen here. Land. This is where now I'll rip all the lands. Yeah. Yeah. How do we know? It's the way she rolls in the jungle, you know? We'll go Cleric. Could have waited to try to offspring it next turn, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 extra goblins going to be made here. I'll keep that on top. Seems pretty good. Yeah. Dude, the done button moving is actually making me mad because it lines up right here, but then it goes down here and then back up. So I can't spam hit done. Sure. They just do that to get all the activations out of the way. I don't blame them. Let's gain a lot more here. That's 5. I actually can trigger her here. I'm just going to entirely wipe their board. Can I just hit spacebar here? I can. I don't know why. I don't know if anybody else has had this problem, but my spacebar just has not been working. I should have had Helena trigger first, by the way. I need to actually pull the stack back out to show this. So here, weirdly enough, on this stack, we actually want this. We want this to happen first. We want this. And the reason we want this to happen first is because we're going to gain all this life. And if she dies, I don't get her in exile. But Amalia is going to hit 20 here and absolutely crush this board, which is super sick. That's where we started today. So that's where me and Mr. Beef Stew are going to be. That's okay. It is quite funny. I do find that oftentimes when you go in this open play, right, and it's not in ranked, a lot of times your opponents will concede pretty quick. It's kind of funny that I've been playing this life gain deck, and I don't know if my opponents necessarily conceded without reason, you know? Say its name. My opponent's a baller. You can exile 3 of these and go get the big goofy boy. I can't remember his name. It's literally on the card, I'm pretty sure. Rice called. Yeah. So this has to be black. Go here. Your Amalia. Get a land. Nice. Hit for 0 because we're an alpha. I don't know if any of you have played with Arboreal Grazer, but that is the most Arboreal Grazer turn you'll ever see. An 0-3 that puts a land from your hand on the battlefield tapped and allows you to do some goofy stuff. So we're going to go ahead and shock this in. We're going to go ahead and play here. Could have maybe played this first, but who knows? They're going to crack this land like they should. Badger Cub on that Fable Passage would have been a bit tough because it would have entered untapped. And we'll go here. Aunt May is a legendary, unfortunately, so we do have to be careful of that. Lost life, gained life. Drew 2 lands off Amalia. Now I'm playing around weird stuff, so just making sure nothing's happening that's too crazy. Also, we're at 47 cards in comparison to the 45 we were at on 2 lands last game. We can see the major swings in the mana, but we're actually doing something with this 5 mana. Whereas before we fell behind quite quickly. Now if my opponent removes this, that's great because they probably have to pay the ward because Nowhere to Run's not big enough to answer this. And if they use 2 cards on Amalia, we're pretty happy. Because, again, they obviously don't know this, but I have a second one. Not my problem, you know? Go here, white. I'm shocking. Playing here. Then we're going to flash this in on their end step. Amalia should probably be answered if they're going to. Although, weirdly enough, I do think I'm just going to flash this in. I gain life. I do all my stuff. For combat. I guess I'm attacking with my O2. It's an alpha swing. I could look to draw more off this, but I want this to enter because I want them to tap out here thinking they're fine. And then we flash this in, and then it's going to get 3 counters on it. And then we could just play this. Okay. Unfortunately, my opponent missed lands. That's not fair based on the statement I said at the beginning of the game where my opponents have not conceded. The good, the bad, the ugly, the complaints, the goodness, the greatness, you know, of the deck that we so love, enjoy, and the different take that we can enjoy with this deck is it does feel pretty good overall, and definitely in those kind of grindy creature matchups we do feel pretty well off. And weirdly enough, against the Reanimator deck, I feel like we're kind of fine. It really depends if we get an Amalia online and are able to mill enough into our graveyard to outlast something like a Terror of the Peaks. Their opponent's just not going to be able to really beat that very often. But I do think the card that really was the MVP was here. This card felt so strong today. The amount of cards we were drawing off of it, the amount of times it was triggering to deal damage. And it just felt really nice to have an outlet of a card that my opponent couldn't just remove with a creature removal spell. And they really had to work to beat this card if they could. If not, it helped generate a ton of value for us. With that said, I think this deck is solid. I do think it is kind of expensive for the goodness that it could be. I do think there's a lot better decks in like that are way more budget friendly than this. I didn't even realize that it was that heavy on rares. but I would definitely probably not craft this deck if you don't have the cards already. This is just too many rares for a niche deck to really commit to, unless this is your jam. If it's your jam, it's a good start. You can definitely probably work it to fit your needs and how you want it to work, but overall it's a bit expensive. The mana base is obviously a bit tough. I think earlier in the video I also said I don't play basics. I forgot I played 4 planes. So I was perfectly fine against board wipes that blew up my lands. I really thought I was just losing. I don't feel like I played many basics that entire video. Maybe I'm wrong, but I felt like I just kept shocking and stuff. So this felt like it was never there. So maybe I'm faded. I have no idea. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed the intro. I am trying to work on it to make it a bit quicker, a bit snappier, and adding a bit more edits to the video to make it a little more enjoyable to watch. Hopefully that works out well. It's not a waste of my time. But with that said, I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.